Hey everyone, Irix Guy here. Now I've gotten a lot of questions about the optimal settings for a GoPro camera. Now this is the brand new HD Hero 3 Plus Black Edition. You can find a link within this video's description if you want to order this camera and or find other GoPro accessories and more information. But what I'm going to do, I just got this camera. So I'm going to walk through step by step putting the battery in and configuring it how I like to have my GoPro configured for Irix Guy's Adventure Channel videos, youtube.com/Irix Guy. So the first thing, since this is Hero 3 Plus Black Edition, we gently grab the front, put your finger under the front part right there. So there, but it's going to look like I'm grabbing the other side, but I'm not. I'm applying pressure up on the front part. That'll cause the latching mechanism to open. You just gently push this forward. Then you can pull the back of the case off. What I usually do is drop the camera out carefully. I then close the case because I don't want any dust or anything to get in it while I'm syncing my camera or configuring my camera, whatever I'm doing. So I'm just going to put the case aside here. The next thing you're going to want to do is put your battery in. Now, you can use the battery that comes with your GoPro, which is perfectly fine. But I found these Wasabi batteries, and they actually last longer. And they come with a very cool USB dock-style charging stand, which is really nice. You can charge 2 of these batteries concurrently. Just a really cool battery. But if you want to use the battery that came with your Hero 3 Plus, that's perfectly fine as well. It works great. Simply push on this, and you may have to flip it over. That's going to cause the battery door to come off. Obviously, make sure you've already charged your battery. Stick your battery in. Once it's in there, put your door back on. Make sure that engages. What I would do next, and this is just personal preference, I don't like to use my GoPro that much outside of the waterproof case, just in case I accidentally dropped it or something like that. So I'm going to put it back inside the case, and then I'm going to configure it. And when I do use it outside of the case, I usually have a lens cover or a filter, like some of my Polar Pro filters. You can check those out. Basically, they'll go over the lens to protect it, and also add enhanced visual capabilities. So to turn on your GoPro, simply push this front button. Going to beep a few times, and then it's going to come up. It's going to say no SD card. So you know what? I just discovered I forgot, and I'm a somewhat savvy GoPro person. I forgot to put the micro SD card in there. So let me grab one. Something I recommend is be sure that you use what's referred, now this is in a full-size SD sleeve, which is neat if you want to. I'm a Mac user, so I use this to sync instead of USB cable. But this is just a 32 gig. This is a 32 gig micro SD card. Brand name's really not that significant in my opinion, but what is significant is the class. And you need to be sure that the micro SD card that you're using is what's referred to as class 10, class 10, because otherwise the speed of the camera, the memory card is not going to be able to keep up with that. So you're going to have video clips that chop out and or fail completely. So you don't want that. So to put the memory card in, all you do is pop open this side door here, and you'll see it's got a little memory card slot. There's only one way it'll go in, and that's, in this case, the writing is up. So the writing on the card is facing the camera lens. So simply push this in with your fingernail. You'll hear it engage. You can see it's clamped down in there now. And then once it's in there, you can put your door back on, just to better prevent any dust or anything from getting in those connectors. Put your camera back in your case. Unless you're using it naked. I don't really like to use my GoPro naked. I like to take extreme amount of care of it. So now you can see it's indicating with the current settings, which is 1080p 1080s 30. So we're going to change the video settings. One of the cool things about the Hero 3 Plus is that it provides a new super view setting, which is super wide video. So I want to configure that. So I'm going to push this bottom button a few times. I've got camera icon there now. Another icon, another icon. There's a wrench. The wrench is what I want. So when I've got the wrench icon right there, you can see the wrench, I push the top button. Once I push the top button, the first option that I see, it looks like a little screen and it says 1080s 30 wide. So I'm going to push the top button again. I want to adjust that. So my top parameter here is, you can scroll through using the bottom, but the 1080s, which it is there, you can see 1080s, that's super view. So I want that, but I want more frames per second. So I'm going to hit the next button to get down to where it's currently on 30 frames per second. Now I'm going to hit the top button. And now I'm going to hit the bottom button because I'm going to scroll down. So you can see now I've got 40 frames per second highlighted. Now I'm going to hit the top button. And now the field of view, and obviously there's only one option, which is wide, but since I got super wide, this will be super wide. Let's select that. Now I'm going to push the bottom button again. It's got a low light setting, which will drop the frames per second. Personally, I will be filming in the day, so I don't want low light here. So I'm just going to hit the bottom one, get to where it says exit, push the top button to acknowledge. Now you can go down through your other options just by pushing the bottom button. If you want to change your still photo settings, whatever. As I mentioned, I use mine primarily for video. So those are the settings I wanted. Now, just as a visual acknowledgement, what you can see when you look at the camera, you can see it says 1080s and then it says 48, and I may have mistakenly said 40 earlier, but it's 1080s 48, which is 1080p in the super view mode, which you only get in the Hero 3 Plus. So it's a super widescreen view at a resolution of 1080 super view, 48 frames per second. So in the past, with my Hero 3 Plus, or my Hero 3 Black rather, the previous generation, I would only do 1080p at 60 frames per second, but it wasn't super view. You can still do 1080p at 60 frames per second on the Hero 3 Plus Black, but you're not going to get super view. The maximum super view you're going to get at 1080p is 48 frames per second. So that's how I've configured this. So that's how IRIX configures his Hero 3 Plus Black Edition. Now there are other video modes. I know a lot of people like to film in 4K, etc. Maybe they don't even want to do 1080, they just want to do 720. But when you watch IRIX videos, I use 1080p. I feel that it's the optimal setting, at least for my works. It's the optimal setting because it looks good on TVs. When you're watching my tropical videos, etc., that 1080p is just the optimal configuration, at least at this point in time. Now when the future comes around and people are moving to Ultra HD, also known as 4K, if they do adopt that, then it may be a time to change settings, and heck, by that time they'll probably have GoPro with 4K capabilities that are equal to or greater than 60 frames per second. But right now, if you're using 4K, your frame rate's going to be somewhat limited. So if you're retiming videos, it's not going to be as crisp as if you had that higher frame rate. So that's how I configure my GoPro. I hope this video helped. As always, I encourage you to contact me if you have any questions. I've been using GoPro cameras for a few years now. You can check out my thousands of videos on youtube.com/IRIX and see for yourself what I've created. And feel free to drop me a line. Drop me a line on YouTube, Facebook. You can go directly to my website, irixguy.com. And if you don't have a GoPro yet, or you do have a GoPro and you want to get some cool accessories for it, check the link within this video's description. I posted a lot of information, and I think you'll find it to be both entertaining and educational. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day.